Your circle causes failure or success. Your circle. Do you have a top 5? We've talked about this from stage before. Do you have a top 5 circle? And who are those top 5 people that you spend the majority of your time with? Who are those top 5 people that inspire and motivate you and cause you to want to play a larger game? The people who I associate with in my inner top circle, they're hardworking individuals. They grind all of the time. They apply themselves in business. They apply themselves in their family. They're active. I want to invite a lot of you that are on this line to consider that you don't have a top 5. You have like yourself and the person you're married to. Like you haven't actively gone out to create a top 5. I want to share a story with you. And this is somebody that I know personally, and it's a very simple story, but it rings true still to this day. He was a wrestler, and I met him originally in high school. He was on the JV team. He was getting beat by a lot of JV wrestlers. He was getting destroyed by the varsity wrestlers, right? He's getting beat by a lot of people. And one particular summer, he had an invitation to go and train with the local college wrestling team. So you've got this JV guy who gets this invitation because it's all about who you know and who knows you sometimes. So he gets this opportunity to go train at a higher level. He is getting destroyed by the collegiate level wrestlers, obviously. I mean, this guy can't even pin JV guys at his high school, let alone varsity guys at his high school. Now he's training with collegiate level guys. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks goes by. The summer's done. He's got to go back to high school. That next year, when he goes back to high school, he became state champion. He wrecked everybody. You want to know why? Because he elevated his circle of people that he spent the most time with. He elevated the circle of people that he trains with, that he looks up to, that he emulates. If you hang out with people at your current level, you will stay current. You want to level up? You have to be willing to be the worst person on the team for a while. There's a lot of you right now that are so afraid of looking bad. You're so scared of trying something new because your current level, they see you as the guy or the woman who knows it all. You're the master. This is where we talk about master syndrome and how it holds us all back. The moment that you fall in love with being the expert or the master, you stop falling in love with being the student. And being the student got you there. Being the person that studies the courses, reads the books, goes to the events, asks dumb questions. That's what got you to the next level. Mm-hmm. How many of you have ever asked a dumb question, but got the exact answer that you needed that unlocked the next path? How many of you have been able to ask dumb questions and gotten those answers and you weren't afraid of looking bad in that moment? That's what requires us to go to the next level. We have to be willing to humble ourselves, to drop the ego, to not worry about if the master doesn't know all the answers.
I love when we've gone to events before and I look at you and I'm like, I feel like this is way over my head. I have no idea what's happening or what they're talking about right now.
I remember that day. We shared that story, Lauren. We were talking about how when we were at the War Room that one time.
Yes.
2 things we had an aha moment with. Number one is we realized we were like the poorest, dumbest people in the room.
It was fantastic. I'm looking around and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I have no idea what you're talking about right now, but this is really interesting.
There's like
Tell
a
me
guy,
more.
We're like in a circle of people and they're literally, what's funny about groups like that is they don't care about, like, money is a tool.
Right.
Money is not something we shouldn't talk about. You know, it's so silly. Like the small business owners, they're so afraid to talk about money. Mm-hmm. But these like big time players, they talk about revenue. They brag about how big their payrolls are. They brag about how much they had to pay in taxes, even though that I don't like that. But it is what it is, right? But the aha moment that we had is we were in the right room because we didn't know the answers. Those people were talking over our heads. I mean, there were times where I had to literally stop somebody and be like, can you explain that differently? I have No idea what you just said.
Definitely had like a Michael Scott moment when he's like, explain it to me like a 5-year-old. Like,
For real.
like,
Yeah.
I'm so lost right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of you who've jumped into our courses, right? And you're like, this is crazy. Some of it might feel like it's going over your head, which is why we have a group that you can post your questions in to get more clarity on, right?
Yes.
So the other aha moment that I had in that group, and I've shared this from stage, is none of them were drinking alcohol.
Oh, correct.
And I'm just going to say
them.
this, like, we're not judging anybody who drinks alcohol, but what I will say is alcohol does not help you go to the next level. It actually holds you back. So if you're drinking alcohol, I want to invite you to consider the possibility that you will have a easier life. You will feel better. Your health will also improve. You'll have more mental clarity, and you'll be more inspired to take bigger action because you are taking your health seriously. You're taking yourself seriously, and you're wiping out a habit that does not help you. The moment that you can get around a group of people like this varsity, or not varsity, but like this collegiate level wrestling team, or this group of people who have $100 million companies, and there was a guy that had $1 billion company.
No big deal.
It's insane to talk to these people because whatever they say, they do. Mm-hmm. There's a level of integrity that exists at the high level that just does not exist at the lower level.
Oh, you know what? That's, okay. These people, like when they're like, oh, so here's my plan. Like, that's their plan. It's not one day I've got this goal where I'm going to do this. Like, no, they're like, no, this is the plan. This is what I'm doing. And then they just do it. They just do the thing, right? And you see that so much at that, like, that mid-level or that lower level where they all have big plans. They got big ideas. They got big goals. And I'm going to do it. I'm thinking about doing it.
Everybody at the lower level has big plans, but yet they have small results.
Yep.
Because they just talk about plans.
Yep.
So I invite you guys, the takeaway from this is to have intention about who you're spending your time with. Mm-hmm. Not everybody has the ability to like go meet someone that owns a business doing $100 million a year. But I will say this, the people who are very successful like that, they love entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. You could go in there and be like, hey, we did 200K this year. I'm trying to get to 500K this year. They will take you under their wing. They will give you advice.
Yep.
Now, you have to understand their time is important, so don't go in there and waste time. If they tell you to do something, you do it. If you start wasting their time, they will never talk to you again. I will also say that. That was one thing that I think helped us really well is anytime we got advice from somebody that was doing way better than us, we took immediate action on it.
Yep.
And it impressed them. And then guess what? They wanted to give us more advice and more help. They make investments in people who make investments in themselves. If you're the type of person that's an ask-hole, ASKHOLE. Those are the types of people that will ask a question and get an answer, do nothing with the answer, and then ask the same question like a week later.
Because they have the same problem that they didn't do anything about. Yeah.
All right. I love you guys.